Alright, it's going to continue here. It'll continue here. Since it's recording, might as well start doing something, you know? Alright. Okay. Alright, this is a continuation here. When I do my words like these on this side of my face, I get Muslims, yeah, plus mock Arabic accent. Okay. It's rather simple to me. It describes people you are forbidden to marry. He's talking about Quran 424. Which includes relatives, women who are already married. Right. But then you have that one little word called except. How come you didn't mention that word? With the exception of slave women, it seems, wow! You did include the except with exception? Man, aren't you to Takia and ignore such a word? With the exception of slave women, it seems, who you are allowed to marry. It's called intercourse in Dawud 2:2050 and Muslim, Sahih Muslim 8:34-33. And in Dawud, it can be done, quote, in the presence of their husbands who are unbelievers, non-Muslims. How come you don't have a problem with that, sir? Where is the consent of her non-Muslim husband so it's not rape? Where is even the consent of her? Where? And then the next verse describes how must marry them with their permission. Right, the part of Dawud. And you're right, the part that Dawud and Muslim don't talk about, but that Muslims do talk about, because it has nothing to do with the violation of a married slave woman in that part of Quran 424. I'm not sure why you're countering my point. I am simply paraphrasing what the Quran says. No, you are not. No. You're trying to quickly add the part of Quran 424 that has nothing to do with raping married women, but instead allows for prostitution, quote, by paying the lady, dowers, for, quote, marriage, unquote, which you can then annul with, quote, I divorce you, saying I divorce you 3 times. How is that not prostitution allowance? But we are talking about prostitution here. We're not talking about prostitution in the first part of Quran 424. We are talking about how Dawud 2:20-50 and Muslim 8:34-33 report how it was handed down, which makes rape fine and dandy for the Muslim who's captured a non-Muslim married couple. And you don't seem to want to go there, I can see. Secondly, you cannot find a Quranic translation that wasn't influenced by patriarchal views as exegesis, influenced or corrupted. It sounds like you're going along with the theory that anyone who translates the Quran into English is in conspiracy to make the Quran sound evil and stupid, including Yusuf Ali, Shakir, and Pickle versions. That's what you're hinting at, true? Because I think some centuries after the Prophet's death, where do you get that? Do you admit that every Quran you read that is not in classical Arabic sounds stupid and evil? Are they corrupted? Already, when individuals had a vested interest in their political interpretations of the text, don't tell me, but they corrupted that, quote, clear signs Quran, saying this is from Allah, while selling the Quran for a miserable gain, right? A miserable price, right? True? These men started to use exegesis to argue to the evaluation of women. So Muhammad didn't say. Are you trying to tell me then Muhammad didn't say that when he looked into hell And saw women. There were more women because they were ungrateful toward husbands, cursing too much, having periods, and being deficient in intelligence. That's a lie. Are you telling me that it is wrong what he said, or are you telling me the Quran is wrong by saying that the testimony of one man is equal to the testimony of two women? That's wrong as well. That it's a man thing and not an Allah thing. That's how it got there. That is. Where there is a verse talking about not passing on property to feeble-minded, the original word, any commentator started to translate it to women and children and started saying to exclude them from inheritance. They started corrupting the quote clear signs. They started corrupting the Quran, the clear signs, making it so all of those words can be changed and altered. If so, what do you think of Quran 4, 136, 150, 152, 151, 152, 2, 285, and 40, 70 through 72 that tells you, a Muslim, to believe in all the books, scriptures of Allah, and, quote, make no distinction between all those books or be far astray? What do you think of those scriptures? Obviously, to harm and restrict women and take away the rights of children, especially orphans, again, are you saying that all those words can be changed and altered? If so, what do you think of Quran 4, 136, 150, 151, 152, 2, 285, and 40, 70, 72 that tells you to believe in all the books, scriptures of Allah and make no distinction between them, or be far astray and dragged off into hellfire? What do you think of that? No need to get hostile. In what way? Hearing Allahu Akbar is far more pleasant than your needless banter here anyway. You have to say that or hellfire awaits you, true? You can keep harping on whatever you're harping on, because Sharia, Muslim, Islamic law hasn't been opposed on me yet, and Muslims don't know where I'm staying, right? I'm going to stick to talking about the Quran, which you keep ignoring. Where was I ignoring it? You mean, quote, you mean ignore the parts that Dawood and Muslim don't talk about with the first part of Quran 424 that allows a Muslim slave master to have intercourse with someone's wife if she's the slave master's right-hand possess? If you are going to be ahistorical here, Dawood and Muslim aren't historical? If so, why is Muslim hadith called Sahih, sound authentic? And you do know how hadith developed, and you do not know how hadith developed, then I can't really help you. So, you are a Shiite Muslim, or a Qurani, and not a Sunni Muslim, true? You don't have to believe in the hadiths, right? If you want to read things into the Quran that are not here, are you saying forbidden to you are married women except what your right hand possess isn't in Quran 424? If so, are all the 30 plus Qurans that have it that way in English that I'm familiar with, that have it or similar to it, that have it that way or similar, are a conspiracy to make the Quran sound evil? Are you saying that they're all a conspiracy? Using the hadith because you want to keep slaves or whatever, much like the classical scholars, you are free to do that. Classical scholars. Sounds like you're in danger of what Quran 4, 136, 150, 151, 152, 2, 285, and 40, 72 warns about by not believing in all the books, scriptures of Allah, where you'll be far astray. For not believing in the part of Quran 424 that Sunan Abu Dawud and Muslim report. Way I see it, you're the one arguing for slavery here. Well, with the first part of Quran 424, with the first part of Quran 424, it sounds like I could very well easily do just that, as well as argue for raping married women in the report of how it's reported, handed down in Dawud and Sahih Muslim. Sounds like I could even allow for rape, you know. Let's see here, is that? Let's see here. I guess we'll continue a little further here. Yeah. Yep, someone's a little paranoid with the jabs you're taking. What happened? Some Muslim hurt ya? I learned it from Fox and Friends and the like. Oh, no, wait, let me guess. It's because you're more intelligent than anybody else, isn't it? Can't just read the Quran for yourself, like Quran 424. By the way, no one on Fox that I'm aware of has ever talked about Quran 424. Not even Quran 111, 38, and 39. That's Quran 9, 38, Quran 9, 39. That turned pious Muslims into terrorists. Also, my complaint isn't with Muslims. It's with the Quran and Hadith that force Muslims to eventually oppress non-Muslims under the penalty of death to pay a high tax jizya until they completely submit to Muhammad. I mean Allah, Quran 9, 1 through 5, and 29, of which you don't seem to have a problem with. How come? Yeah, I don't have a problem with the reading of the Quran. How about studying it? Do you have a problem then? I have a problem with your reading and twisting of it. How am I twisting what I read? What does forbidden to you are married women and can't have sex with married women except with your right hand possess? What does that mean to you? How am I twisting the meaning of this, especially in the light of how the scripture from the Quran is being reported, handed down in Dawah 2:2050 and Muslim 8:34-33? You want me to post what it says in those hadiths? A Sunni Muslim is to believe it, that a Sunni Muslim is to believe it or not be a Sunni Muslim? After all, what do you think of Sahih? What do you think Sahih means in Arabic? It means authentic and sound. Much like I have a problem with traditionalists and classical scholars reading of it. So, you really aren't a Sunni Muslim? You aren't. And you aren't a key in here by being a Quran-only Muslim, or a Shiite Muslim who really does truly believe in the Hadith is evil and stupid and believe a Muslim should only focus on the Quran, being that there is Dawah 2:2050 and see Muslim 8:34-33? Well, hey, I'll quit with the Dawah and Muslim thing, okay? I bet you'd like that. But again, you say you have a problem with traditionalists and classical scholars. What is it that you have a problem with about them? But again, how am I twisting the first part of Quran 424 that Dawah and Muslim do report handed down? How? How am I twisting it? What are these? Just smiles. Then he just smiles. I'm not Muslim. I am not Muslim. Then I say, I am. I put a smiley face here. Okay. Okay, nice. Aloha Egbert. I'm actually, well, I'll tell you what, I'm actually a person in the book trying to debate Quran 547 and 568 about staying firm upon the Torah and Injil and using the Injil to judge therein of the quote clear signs, Quran. Ah, how wonderful. Keep it up. Okay, by the way, if you aren't a Muslim like you say, what religion or belief are you into? Atheist. Or of the, I don't really care whether or not God exists, but will call out bigotry of all kinds conviction. Yet you defend Islam. That's interesting. How can you defend Islam? You do realize that under Sharia, you as an atheist would have to pay a high tax called jizya if you weren't fully submitting to Allah, or be killed after sacred months are passed, Quran 9, 1 through 5 and 929. Do you realize that, don't you? Why do you try to defend such an oppressive evil faith like Islam? I say evil due to Quran 424 and how it's reported, handed down in Dawah 2:20-50 and Sahih Muslim 8:34-33. 8:34-30, yeah. Plus there's also Quran 9, 111, 38-39. Anyway. If this were the 1930s Germany, and I was exposing what I felt was evil about Hitler, would you, as an atheist, try to defend the Nazi way of life by believing I was a bigot for attacking such a way of life as Nazism? It's interesting, isn't it? Perplexing is more like it. Not really. I deal with many people like you. I know where my concerns lie. If you really are an atheist, not a stealth Muslim, well, what is it about the Quran that keeps you from pulling out a prayer rug 5 times a day, every day for the rest of your life, and supposedly not worshipping the black stone that was once stolen and held for ransom for 20 years by Abu Tyre, the leader of the Carmatians? And I'll get back to this later. Bye.